In her explosive memoir, The Woman in Me, Britney Spears tells the story you only thought you knew. So today, we're going to break down how one of the biggest stars on the planet was controlled and how she fought for years to finally get her own voice back. This one sentence right here, a child robot. I mean, it's at the absolute heart of her story. It shows you how one of the most visible people in the world felt like she was being systematically stripped of her own humanity. And her memoir, it's really the story of her fight to get it back. Okay, so before the world stage, before all the chaos, her story really begins in the woods of Louisiana. And it was there, as a young girl with a pretty difficult home life, that she found out her voice wasn't just a talent, it was her power. Yeah, so from a really young age, singing for her wasn't just about, a career. It was her sanctuary. It was this way for her to rise above the chaos of her family, a place where she actually felt in control and connected to something much, much bigger than herself. Her rise to fame was honestly nothing short of meteoric. I mean, think about it. She goes from the Mickey Mouse Club in '92 to becoming a global phenomenon with Baby One More Time just 6 years later. And by 2001, when she's on stage with that snake at the VMAs, an iconic moment, she wasn't just a star anymore. She was defining pop music for a whole generation. But this whole time, underneath that glossy pop star surface, there were these two really conflicting legacies that were shaping her. You had the trauma and the abuse from her father's side of the family, and then that was clashing with these artistic, ambitious dreams from her mother's side. And this internal battle, well, it would end up defining pretty much her entire life. So as her fame just exploded, so did the scrutiny. And that control she found in her music, it started to just vanish from every other part of her life. This put her on a direct path to one of the most controversial legal arrangements we've ever seen in pop culture history. Now, in what is one of the most painful parts of the book, Britney shares a secret she held for decades. She describes having an abortion at home. And she says it was a decision that wasn't really hers alone to make. According to her, it was Justin Timberlake's absolute certainty that he wasn't ready to be a father that was really the deciding factor. You know that moment. The whole world saw it as a breakdown. But in the book, she reframes it completely. She'd been through a really public breakup, the paparazzi were relentless, and she was losing custody of her kids. Shaving her head, she says, wasn't an act of insanity. It was an act of profound grief and this desperate rebellion against a world that just wanted her to be pretty and quiet. All of this turmoil came to a head in 2008 with a court-ordered conservatorship. And for 13 years, she would lose control of her own life. And the level of control, it was just absolute. It was infantilizing. It went so far beyond her finances. Her diet, her phone, her medication, all of it was monitored. She couldn't drive her own car. She even needed permission just to go to the doctor to get her IUD removed so she could try to have another baby. This wasn't protection. It was a cage. And this alleged quote from her father, Jamie Spears, it just illustrates that chilling power shift perfectly. He reportedly told her this right after the conservatorship began. So in his mind, he wasn't just managing her affairs. He was Britney Spears now. But even inside that cage, the fire wasn't completely out. A slow, really determined fight for freedom started to build, and it was a fight that would eventually grab the entire world's attention. And that's really the big question for this part of her life, right? How do you fight back when you have no power? For years, she says, her strategy was just compliance. She played the part. She became that child robot because she truly believed that being good was the only way she would ever get to see her son. So while Britney was totally isolated, her fans, they started connecting the dots online. The hashtag Free Britney movement, it grew from just a hashtag into this global investigation, all led by people who just sensed that something was deeply, deeply wrong. And she writes that their voices, they gave her hope when she had almost none left. The breaking point finally came on June 23rd, 2021. When she addressed the court directly, Britney just shattered that I'm fine facade she had kept up for over a decade. And the world listened,
pretty much horrified as she finally and so passionately told her own truth.
That testimony, it was the key that finally unlocked the cage. It created this tidal wave of public support, and it set in motion the final, rapid steps she needed to reclaim her life. Right after her testimony, she was finally allowed to choose her own lawyer. And from there, the legal battle, it reached its conclusion so fast. After 13 long years, the conservatorship was officially terminated. Britney was finally free. So what does freedom even mean after going through all of that? Well, for Britney, it's not about extravagance or luxury. It's about the basic, fundamental right to just be human. The freedom to drive her car, to make her own choices. And, as she puts it, the right to be beautifully imperfect. The Woman in Me is so much more than just a celebrity memoir. It's really an act of reclamation. It's this raw, sobering look at fame, at misogyny, and at power. And it leaves all of us with one really crucial question. How many other people, famous or not, are still out there just waiting for the chance to finally speak their own truth?